Good evening, Camp Springs, friends, and our special guests. Thank you for coming out tonight. I want to say Happy New Year to everyone. Uh, and welcome to I'll say the first meeting for 2025. I want to thank you all for coming out this evening. I know we're on the Zoom, but there were other things that you could have been doing, but we're glad that you came to hear what our officials have to say and our Red Cross. And so with that being said, I want everyone to please, in your prayer time, please pray for the families of California who have lost loved ones and people who have lost their homes. So keep them lifted up and the family of the late, great President Jimmy Carter. Now we have a full agenda, if everyone's seen the agenda. So we're starting a couple of minutes late. So with that being said, let's get started. First, we'll have public safety. Corporal Miller, you have a report for us this evening?
Good evening. Happy New Year. Corporal Miller, Prince George County Police, Community Engagement Unit. Yeah, as of recently, I don't know, most people know, the big thing going on right now is commercial burglaries. And in your area, we had the medical pharmacy on Allentown Road. They broke in there on the night of the snowstorm. And I think they went through like the front door, so that's underneath investigation. The 5,000 block, I think of Temple Hills Road, we had a breaking and entering, but the person was arrested, so the detectives are handling that. And the other things, we had probably like 6 theft from autos and 2 stolen vehicles, but that basically was in the Stamp Road area off St. Boniface Road. Other than that, I don't have too much.
When you say the pharmacy, are you talking about Allentown Discount Pharmacy?
Yes. They broke in that on the first night when it started snowing.
Oh my goodness. Thank you. And that being said, that's Dr. Howard, everyone. And I meant to put out Dr. Howard lost his father I think at the beginning of the week or this past weekend. And I haven't had the opportunity to reach out to him, but I will definitely giving him a call tomorrow. Thank you, Corporal Miller. Do we have Corporal Diggs or Thomas who's going to give us a report for
Yes,
Division
how
5?
you doing today? This is Corporal Diggs, Division 5 Community Engagement Unit. Happy New Year. I know it's been a while since you guys heard or seen me, but I'm stepping up and I have, I guess, a crime report for you guys. Um, kind of piggybacking off of what Corporal Miller said on the Frank sector side, uh, the issue where we were having issues with commercial burglaries. However, for us, 2 of them were just classified as vandalism because no entry was made. It was just damage. So on December the 19th, on the 6400 block of Allentown Road, was at the Truist Bank. They had damage done to the ATMs. People, I guess, were trying to make entry, but they were unable to, so it just was damaged. They classified that as vandalism. And then they made another attempt, same location, on January the 2nd of this year. Same thing. So we had
Same,
two
just
vandalism,
the same bank?
same bank.
Wow.
Same bank. So there was a total of 3 vandalism. 2 of them were at that ATM. And then we had at the 7300 block of Wessex Drive, there was a vandalism to someone's vehicle. As far as the thefts, we had 1 theft on January the 3rd. Theft from auto. We had a theft from auto On January 3rd, they stole vehicle tags from persons called from Easy Street. We had 2 stolen vehicles. One on December 29th. I forgot the 100 block, but it was off of Allentown Road. And then we had another stolen vehicle, Beechwood Drive on New Year's Day. And then we had 2 thefts. I don't know if Corporate Thomas usually reports stuff like this, but on December the 17th, we had an employee that stole $900 from the register at the Giant. They had him on camera, and the individual left early. So you're gonna steal from the register and then leave work early. It's kind of suspicious. So they're going to pursue charges for that individual. And then lastly, we had another theft on December the 12th. Someone stole some construction equipment from a construction site off of Alley Road and Old Branch. And that's all I have for you guys for the Frank Texas side. And that was from the last. Oh, actually, that's not necessarily true. That was for the last 30 days, and I just went on to look at the stuff, and there appears to be, I guess 9 minutes ago, they reported a residential burglary on the 6800 block of Rabina Road, but they're still working that. Looked like a door was kicked in. They're unsure, so I guess officers are currently out investigating that.
Wow. Thank you for that report, but I mean, we don't want them kind of report, Corporal Diggs.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry to be the bearer of bad news.
No. It's nothing to do with you. I'm just saying, wow, we haven't had that much activity in this area. And I don't recall having that much activity, but
well, I think it's attributed to the weather and stuff like that too. So they were taking advantage of the fact that when it's inclement weather, sometimes routine patrol is suspended. So it's just emergency calls. So I think they were trying to maybe they were aware of that. I don't know, somehow. So they possibly were taking advantage of that.
Okay, thank you. Before I move on, does anyone have any question for Corporal Miller or Corporal Diggs before we move on? Okay, well, thank you, and y'all continue to be safe. Now we have Miss Renee Wasco from the Fire Department, who's going to do a little presentation for us for winter safety. Miss Wasco, we can't hear you.
Sorry, I thought I unmuted when I started.
I thought it was me. I can't hear anything. This is babbling.
I'm unmuted now. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
I will start over. Hi, my name is Renee Wasco from the Prince George's County Fire EMS Department. Thank you everyone for being here tonight. I will try to hurry up. If I'm speaking too fast, please let me know. So winter is heavy fire season, and we experience a lot of home fires, unfortunately, from December through February. So we would like everyone to please be careful, and I will go over a couple topics as to why we experience those fires, and hopefully everyone can please be safe this winter. So we experience the majority of our home fires because of heating related sources, and how we can be safe this winter is we can be safe this winter through making sure that we check our home ventilation sources through dryers and heating elements, and then any of our kitchen appliances. So if you have a certified technician check any of those sources, that would be very helpful. We do see a lot of dryers catch on fire as well. So if you have a certified technician come out and check your dryer vent, that would be very helpful. A lot of people don't ever get those checked, and then those catch on fire from the lint. And it's very helpful if you go home and create a home fire escape plan and discuss that with your family, and make sure that your home is not cluttered essentially, and you're able to get out safely and have two ways out of your home. Wherever you live, be able to get out from a window or get out from the door, and be able to get out successfully, and be able to practice that with your family. And then once you do get out, be able to identify where you're meeting up with your family, and make sure that someone doesn't go over to a neighbor's house where you aren't able to find them or locate them. So make sure that you designate where you're going to meet that person. And call 911 if something does happen. So getting us started as soon as possible. And when you do get out of a structure, that you don't go back in. So making sure that you never go back in for something, and getting out is most important. So something that is very important that we do cover is portable space heaters. The new ones are built with a mechanism where it tips over, it'll auto shut off. A lot of the older ones are not built with this mechanism. And if you have it by your bed or have it by a sofa and you fall asleep and then throw covers over it, they will catch on fire. So this is the most likely reason why we see fires happen because of space heaters is people fall asleep, they take medications, and then they get very hot and don't realize what they're doing while they're sleeping. And then they throw that cover or they throw a blanket over the space heater, and then it catches on fire or it gets accidentally knocked over. So we want to be very careful with space heaters and making sure that you're keeping them a safe distance away from anything that can be flammable, which could be anything like a new couch, a new sofa. A lot of our new materials that we're building are couches and sofas and furniture with catch fire very, very fast. So we want to make sure that we're keeping that a safe distance away. And that's about it for space heaters. Am I speaking too fast? Everyone's good. Okay. I'm just going to keep going. So generators. We want to make sure never to have a generator inside the house, that these emit a heavy amount of carbon monoxide. If anyone doesn't know what carbon monoxide is, it's a odorless, colorless gas that can be deadly and very poisonous. And when you breathe it in, you can experience symptoms like headache, dizziness, nausea, vomiting, weakness, fatigue, confusion, seizures. A lot of these symptoms mimic other illnesses. So you may experience these symptoms and not know why you're experiencing this. And if you don't have a carbon monoxide detector, you may think you're being sick for other reasons other than carbon monoxide. So carbon monoxide can be a leak from a gas appliance or a gas emitting appliance, like a stove or a boiler, or if you have a generator inside. So, or if you leave your car running in the garage. So please be very, very careful of your gas emitting appliances. And always make sure you have a either combination detector, so that's smoke and CO detector inside, and you test it regularly. If it's over 10 years old, please replace it or test it monthly. You can test it every 6 months, but make sure if it's over 10 years old that you get it replaced. So we want to make sure that your vehicle and home are winter ready. So I've created a checklist. If everyone wants, you can screenshot this. But we've created a little checklist that I'm sure the Red Cross will also go over. But if you want to winterize your car or winterize your house, and just make sure you have stuff in your car to be able to prepare yourself. I know that we did have some snow and we're possibly getting more snow. So make sure that if you do get stuck, you're able to get yourself out, like having I put on here cat litter. So you're able to get yourself put traction down so you can get yourself out if your car is stuck. Be able to help yourself if you do get stuck. So I put down a couple important information on this list. If you have any questions, I will drop my information in the chat. So candle safety. Candles are also a one of the number one couple things that I see. I do a lot of data tracking for the county. So this is very, very common occurrence that I see of why structure fires occur in Prince George's County. So it's unattended candles. So leaving them on, people using them for a heat source or just playing with fire in general. I shouldn't have to say this, but please don't play with fire or leave or set things on fire. Please don't do that. Fire can grow very, very fast, and people commonly you will occur more I'm just going to continue. Please don't leave candles near anything that will be flammable. Leave 12 inches between anything that will be flammable. This is our information. If you would like a free smoke alarm and you don't have a hardwired alarm in your house, so this is for non-hardwired homes, you can have a free smoke alarm through our program. The number is on the screen and I can put that in the chat as well. And if you would like a fire safety discussion, the number is also on the screen. I can put the information in the chat, and that's the number to contact us for the public fire life safety education courses. Any questions?
Ms. Weston, thank you for your presentation. I do have a question in the chat. They wanted to know, do you assist with creating an escape plan?
So we can definitely not individual home escape plans, but we do come out and do fire safety discussions where we can discuss how to create escape plans with that group. So we can definitely come out and speak to a whole group of people.
So you mean like we can have you back
Yes.
and you can help, okay, and you can like give a general for everyone, but not for individuals.
Yes.
Okay.
I cover the whole county. So unfortunately, I can't do it on an individual basis, but I can come out and do it for a whole group and we can all talk about it together.
Okay. And Miss Radford put in the chat, she says the Office of Emergency Management provide information on emergency preparedness. This may include escape plans. We're not saying it's definite, but it may include an escape plan. But Miss Wasco said that she could come back, and we welcome you to come back to help us with our escape plans.
Yes, I can definitely help.
Thank you for the presentation. That was very informative. Does anyone else have a question for Miss Wasco? That let me, let's see any hands. You see any hands raised, Mr. Bagley? Well, again, thank you. We appreciate you coming out and providing us with that very informative information. I miss our newly elected Board of Education rep. She sent me a message that she will be coming to the meeting, but she's in another meeting. So when she comes on, we'll introduce her and welcome her in her newly elected position. So with that being said, we have the Department of Inspections, Enforcement, and Permitting. And as everyone know, we call them DPI. We have Miss Maria Hyatt, Property Standards Inspector, Mr. Balmer, who's the Inspector Supervisor, and I believe Miss Lester Thomas is on here, who is the Public Information Officer. Correct?
Good
So-
evening, everyone. My name is Walter Balmer, and I don't believe Avis is with us tonight. If
okay.
she is, maybe she'll jump in. But I have with me Maria Hyatt, who is the supervisor for the single-family housing
Okay.
inspectors in the area. There she is there. And I also
Miss Hyatt.
have Inspector Santiago, who is the zoning inspector for your area. We really don't have anything prepared, but I know everybody has a ton of questions for DPI. So, we'll take those as we can. We can't talk any specifics about particular cases, but what I want to do want to reiterate is that, if you have any complaints, put them into 311. That puts it directly into the inspector's queue. It takes some time for these requests to be investigated. Now, just to give you a time frame of the investigation. Now, if you're putting in a request for a single family home, say that they have cars, abandoned cars or tall grass and weeds, things like that. It may take us, between 5 and 7 days once it gets into the inspector's queue to have the inspection completed. Now, once they get the inspection done, they have to come back and put the information into the system, and then they have to generate the report. Then they have to go back out and post the property to give the notice of violation or the citation. Now, once that happens, we have to give the property owner due process to allow them to respond to the notice of violation or the citation. And that can take up to 30 days to allow the due process to happen. Now, if we're using the single family house, then that would go to what we call the administrative hearing unit. And if, that can only be for tall grass, weed storage, things like that. Now, if there are other things that go on at the property, then we may end up having to take it to court. Just to give you an example, it takes us anywhere from 6 to 8 months to complete up the process of, getting the property under violation, them into court, the court process to take out. And then if the homeowner does not comply, then we would put it on a list to have it cleaned. Moving over to the zoning portion, we are responsible for zoning of commercial properties as far as the use and occupancy permit. So if the property is not, the commercial establishment has a use and occupancy.
You went on mute. You're on mute.
Sorry about that.
Mhm.
Did you hear the commercial portion? Okay, so the commercial property, we enforce the use and occupancy permit. And if they're not operating to the specifics of the use and occupancy permit, then we put them under violation, and those all go through the court system. It could take a year to a year and a half to get those to come to fruition or to come into compliance. So when you put in your 311 requests, I know you're looking for us to kind of operate like the police, but we do not operate that way. We don't arrest anybody. We don't come in and with force or take anything from anybody right away without a court order or an administrative hearing judgment. So with that, I'll open it up to questions. And if you have, general questions, we can definitely answer those. And I'll leave it open to you guys.
Okay, so first, before, because you're gonna probably get a lot of questions. Let me do the one on, I'm gonna do the two that's on, that they put in the chat. What are the penalties, if any? Can somebody, they got to go on mute. Can somebody go on mute? If any, for businesses that do not maintain storefront cleanliness.
I'm gonna give that to Inspector Santiago. He deals with the zoning portion of it.
Okay.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
I'm Inspector Santiago. I am the zoning inspector for the South. I'm with the Enforcement Division. So to answer that question, it's $1,000 for any property maintenance. Use and occupancy permits. If you don't have a permit, there is a step system that we have to use: 250, 500, 1,000. That's for anybody who's operating without a use and occupancy permit. So first offense is 250, after that 500, then 1,000. Anything property maintenance is automatically 1,000. And it's $1,000 for each violation. So let's say, I think the biggest complaints are like the shopping centers, the striping of the parking lot or potholes. That's $1,000. Commercial vehicles being parked in the parking lots of these shopping centers overnight, that's 1,000. Trash and debris, that's 1,000. And that's actually two separate codes. So it'll be 1,000 each, so for a total of two.
It's, but Inspector Santiago, but that goes back to, it's a process and it doesn't happen overnight. So that might still take up to
So-
like a year.
So the process is 311, we get the complaint. Depending on how many complaints we get, just as a reminder, it's one inspector for a huge area in zoning. So it's me for the entire Frank sector, which is Quasco, Brandywine, Camp Springs, Temple Hills. I handle one entire area. So once I get it, I go out, do the inspection. After I take my pictures, I go back to the office, do my homework, prepare the case file, send out the violation notice. After they get the violation notice, they have 30 days to come into compliance. If they do not come into compliance, then I go back out on the 31st day. This is a perfect world, mind you. Like I said, we are busy. 31st day, we go back out, take our pictures, the violation is still there, citations get issued. Once the citations get issued, now it's in the court's hands. We have no control over what the courts do. They schedule everything. It could be 3 months, it could be 4 months, it could be a year. That is the court system. But once we issue the citation, now it's in the court's hands. They give it back to us. We go to court and we get an abatement order or a consent order. Or before we get to court, sometimes they end up fixing the problem, and then we just take the fines away, because all we look for really is compliance. Prince George's County isn't in the business of making money off of, at least DPI, off of businesses. If they come into compliance, that's all we look for.
Thank you. Okay, I'm gonna do the,
Single family houses. We don't look for just issuing the residents citations. We look for compliance.
okay. I'm gonna ask the second question and then I'm gonna open it up, and I know it's some more in the chat. It said there is considerable and consistent trash that accumulates on grass embankments that that ABUT business parking lots. For example, businesses along Marlboro Ritchie Road in Capitol Heights. Is the business responsible for maintaining that area, or is that the responsibility of, this is a DPWT question. This isn't DPI question. Okay. We would have to get that question to DPWT. That's not a, So does anyone have a question before because there's some more in the chat, but does anyone have a question before I do the other ones in the chat?
Yeah, Marie McCoy.
Hi, Miss McCoy, how are you?
Yeah. In Camp Springs, they are buying these houses and they're changing from single to family. I mean, I guess to multi. And a lot of them are not getting a permit. So are they fine if they do not get a permit for the renovations?
So yes, I'll take that one. If we get the complaint, we'll come out and investigate it, and then the same process as Inspector Santiago said, we'll put them under violation, and more than likely those processes will go to court. So it takes time to bring them into compliance. And then if they have a rental, they would need to get a rental license at that time as well. So that also rests in our shop. But if we don't know about it, then we can investigate it. So just make sure you
Well,
put that
I have
specific
reported.
information.
Excuse me. I have reported this house.
Okay.
You had a renter to go over it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know whether he got in. It was for sale. Somebody has bought it. They advertised it as a single family, but there were three apartments in there besides the house.
Okay. And you said
And
an
that's been
inspector
some
came
time
out to
ago.
you?
Pardon me?
You said an inspector came out there to the house?
Inspector came out. He was a renter. He called me, but I never heard what happened.
Okay, yeah.
I don't know if he was able to get in because, like I say, it was for sale, but they were advertising it as a single family.
Yeah. So if the inspector did come out, more than likely that they put it under violation. Now, here's something to remember that, once we take over the case and we put it in, we won't really give the complainant too much information. When you put information in 311, it comes back with complaint completed. That completed portion means that we have actually gone out and done the inspection. It may not mean that the violation that you've reported has been rectified, but we have definitely investigated the complaint. So, it doesn't really match with what we have to continue to do. They don't want us to keep the complaints open that long. So, we'll just put it in the system and say that we've done our first look at the complaint.
So you look at it. Is there a follow-up to see if they...
Oh, yeah. We definitely, if we put it under violation, then like Inspector Santiago said, we have 30 days to go back and put the property under violation, or if they've taken care of the violation, which we call compliance, then we would close it out. If not, then we would move it forward. Like we said, it takes quite a long time for us to really get compliance from the property or from the court.
Well, could you do a follow-up and call me, or could I have your number? Because I'm really
yes, ma'am.
interested. What?
Like I said, I'll put my information in the chat, but I can't give you any specifics about, I can tell you whether, there's if you have a question about any property in Prince George's County, you can go on the Look-See website.
On the what website?
It's called Look-See. Maria, if you can put that in the chat. And this will tell you if we have violations on any property in Prince George's County. Now, if you see that we have a violation on them, then like it's going through the process. That's another avenue that you can see that something is going on. I put my information in the chat. I can talk generals, but I can't talk specifics about a case.
Okay, if I go into that website and nothing has been done, then what am I supposed to do then? Report it again?
You can contact me.
Okay, so you're going to put your information in the chat?
Yes, ma'am. I'll put it in chat.
All right, thank you.
Yeah.
You're on mute, man.
Oh, I just asked you a question. I was on mute. I apologize. I'm going to get to Samsung in a second. It says, what about 311 requests that status never changes and no updates?
I really can't answer the 311 portion about how it operates. I just know what it is on our end. Yeah, I don't have any information on that. I'm sorry.
I'm going to let Samsung speak. in 1 second, but there's a couple of questions about the potholes. That's not DPI, that's DPWT. We do not have DPWT out, but they're still saying that they're not going to do the permanent fix on the street, but they're supposed to smooth them out after they do. I think they have some other process that they have to do, but due to the inclement weather, that's pushing things back also. So with that, I'm going to allow Samsung, and then we're going to have Miss Radford.
Thank you very much. My name is Adrienne. This is just a follow-up on the question I had about, I call them embankments, I'm not sure if that's the correct term, that are in front of the businesses along Ritchie Marlborough Road. So in those instances, there's the business, then they have a parking lot, and then as you can walk across the parking lot, and you're basically going down a grassy hill, so to speak, and then you're on Ritchie Marlborough Road. So I know that you have already concluded that it's a DPWT question, but I'm asking to confirm that, are those grassy hills essentially a part of the business and thus their responsibility to keep clean, or is it actually the responsibility of DPWT? So I just want confirmation from DPI so that we can all know who is the appropriate person to contact when we are seeing the accumulation of litter there.
Well, I think that's going to be, that takes some investigation. Property lines and things like that are drawn on the map. We can't see them particularly when we come out. So, if you want to put your information or just send me an email, my information is in the chat, and we'll try to look at it to figure out what it is. Now, I do know that my inspectors for zoning have that particular property under violation. But as far as the trash, I'm not quite sure who that's going to fall on without actually going out and taking a look at it and then looking at the map.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much for the information.
Okay, Ms. Radford.
Yes, thank you. Good evening, everyone. My name is Afia Radford from the Office of Community Relations. Greetings on behalf of our director, Yanisha Davis, and the acting county executive, Tara Jackson. I just wanted to speak up about a question someone had about 311 and how it works. And I think I caught the tail end of it, but I just want to make sure that was addressed. Someone mentioned about basically service requests being closed out. Was that correct?
They wanted to know about, you put in a request, the status never changes. I mean, I can vouch for that. I've had a couple of years, status never changed, and then they said there's no updates.
Okay. Yeah, so if you have a service request that you put it in a while ago and the date to resolution has not passed yet, we have to give the agencies an opportunity to address it. So whether it's DPI, whether it's DPWT or whomever, we have to give them the opportunity to meet that the deadline that is set in the system. If your service request goes past that deadline and the status hasn't changed or it's been closed out and the issue has not been resolved, that's when you can reach out to our office, the Office of Community Relations. And we can do a little research also and see what may have happened and see how we can also connect with our agency partners to see what happened there. So I hope that answers the question. But if not, let me know.
So what you're saying is because like they put in the chat, they said like it's 9 to 12 months old. And I know I've had stuff that's been a couple of years old.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yes.
So you said reach out to your Office of Community Relations?
Yeah. So for example, some issues, and I don't want to get too far in the weeds with it, but some issues have a resolution date that's pretty far out for various reasons, because of the time of the year, because of scheduling and all of that. So we have to give the agencies an opportunity to meet that initial deadline. If we've reached that initial deadline and the issue is still pending or hasn't been resolved, that's when you can reach out to our office and we can do some research on in the system and see what's going on, and then also reach out to our agency partners from DPI, DPWT, and whomever, and see how we can help out.
So you're saying that we need to follow up with 311, or who are we following up with so we can, if we want to see resolutions?
That's right. So I will put my information in the chat.
Okay.
So I'm actually filling in, excuse me.
You're on mute.
Sorry about that. So I'm here this evening on behalf of one of my colleagues who had a conflict. And there will be someone soon who will, you have a new community liaison from our office who will be responsible for your area. So
Mr.
just,
Vince is leaving us?
oh, Vince,
No.
no, I'm sorry, Vince, no. So Vince is still your CL. So for everyone's information on the line, I think everyone, oh, I see my deputy director is also on the line as well.
Indeed.
Oh yeah, so Deputy Marriott, if you'd like to chime in as well. Sorry, I didn't see you there.
No, it's okay. Mrs. Taylor, thank you for yielding the floor to the Office of Community Relations. Listen, two things. On behalf of National Law Enforcement Day, I do just want to extend a happy National Law Enforcement Day to anyone wearing the badge today. I also want to just extend a howdy to our DPI folks, especially Ms. Hyatt, who has continued to support, as well as Mr. Balma, excuse me, sir, Inspector, who has continued to support the efforts of Prince George's County. To clarify, Vince, and I'm sorry if I'm speaking over you, Afia, but I do just want to clarify a couple of things. With regard to those service requests that have gone either closed, unanswered, I would greatly appreciate it. Afia is going to put her contact information in the chat, and I would greatly appreciate the number of those service requests, because we can work through it collectively to see which ones need to be expedited, but then also which ones deserve an explanation, because some of them, in some cases, are not our responsibility. I don't know, and I don't want to speak, out of turn here, but and then there are also some things that we can't do just because of bandwidth, money, or just personnel. These decisions on improvements, whether it's roads or trash, a lot of those things are taken into perspective around how much money, how many assets, and how much personnel we have access to. So before I sit here and say, no, we can't do something, I would love some level of clarification of what the community is asking for first. And then I'd like to work through with you, Mrs. Taylor, around, okay, what are our highest priorities, and then work our way down. So if possible, again, and I apologize for parakeeting, but if possible, if you could please provide those service requests that are of your highest concern. And then any other ones that are really out there, because it really is the interim county executive, Tara Jackson's objective is to resolve these community concerns. There are some I will just have to come to and stand 10 toes down with you all to say, okay, this is what we can do and this is what we can't do. And I think that that would be more respected than just not having an answer. So if you would just be able to provide that information, we can come to either your next meeting, but really I don't want to wait till the next meeting to communicate with you, Mrs. Taylor, because I realize that you've got over 50 people on this phone, on this meeting this evening. So it's very important to the community. So it's very important to us. So let's get those service request numbers into Afia, to the email address that she's provided in the chat, and let's work through this collectively. I know DPI is on board. I can see Walters. I know Ms. Hyatt. I know DPW&T is ready to roll. And as it relates to some of the trash issues, that means that we have to incorporate the Department of Environment. But again, I need to see it as a comprehensive piece before I can provide some level of solution. And I do wish everyone on the call a happy new year. I'm sorry if I speak really quickly. I am from New York, so you got to forgive me. I am a transplant, but I dag near love Prince George's County. I love who I get to serve. And if I'm not doing the job of what you've empowered me or put me in place to do, I am ready to be checked as such.
Thank you so much. We appreciate you. Thank you for giving us some clarity. And that, yes, we love to work with you to get some resolution to some of these outstanding 311 tickets. Thank you
Yes,
so
please.
much.
Yes,
Right.
please.
Appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
Yes.
Thank you for chiming in, Deputy.
Thank you, Afia. Thank you for being on this evening. She is filling in for Vince. Vince is still your community liaison. He's
Yes.
just a little bit under the weather. I don't want to put his
Okay.
business all the way out there, but we
Okay.
did want to make sure that the meeting was covered this evening. Thank you for yielding the floor.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Before we have Ms. Pulliam, and then we have some other questions, but I do not want, we have we have Revenue Authority, and we have American Red Cross. So want to get through a couple of those, and then we could come back to Deepa, some of the questions. Is that okay?
That's okay. I just wanted to thank Ms. Courtney for her brilliant summation of what goes on in Prince George's County. The inspectors that you have here, I want to tell you, they are like the most diligent people that we have in our department. Maria, takes pride in her area, your area, and she is always in my office saying, "Can we clean this? Can we clean that?" And sometimes I have to say no, but she is definitely taking care of it. And Inspector Santiago on the zoning side is a real go-getter. So you definitely can question them with that, if that's okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, Ms.
Thank you.
Pulliam, and then we're gonna go to Revenue Authority, then we'll come back to, I see several questions in the chat. Ms.
Okay, good
Pulliam?
evening, Ms. Taylor. You mentioned about the Allentown Road situation, and you said something about there's not going to be a permanent fix. Can you repeat what you said? I didn't get all of
What
that.
we're saying is because what we were told, when it's a certain time, the temperature drops to a
Yes.
certain temperature, they can't put the permanent fix of the road down until like the springtime. But they are supposed to smooth this road out. We've been told this for several months that they are gonna smooth it out. But then, we had the snow, because it was supposed to be within the next 2 weeks. But I'm gonna be honest, the date keeps changing on when they're gonna smooth this road out. But part of it, I think I see they keep going in the ground.
Correct.
So, I will follow up again, because I've contacted them on several occasions. But it keeps moving. That's a fact. It keeps moving because I know a lot of people have been complaining about of course, we all complaining about the situation, and people are having problems with their vehicles because of it. And if you do have damage, you can go on WSSC website. They do have I can't think of what it's called, but they have on there that you can report it so you can get reimbursed for the damage that your car has incurred because of the road condition.
So we can go on. That was going to be the second part of my question about vehicle damage, because I've had to have 2 tires replaced.
Yes, you're supposed to be. They have on their website where you can go on there, report it, so you can get reimbursed for the problems that you're having with damage that's come to your vehicle.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Taylor.
You're welcome. Thank you so much. I know we have more questions, but I would be remiss if I do not allow Director of Enforcement Services, Captain Shanika Schaefer with Revenue Authority, allow her to speak. And I know we have questions about that. And some of it is the difference of because you have DPI, you have the police, and you have Revenue Authority, like when people have concerns about the cars on the grass, cars that seem like they're abandoned and things like that. So we're gonna get some clarification.
All right, good afternoon, everyone. I am so sorry I'm having some visual difficulties, but
No
hopefully as
problem.
we go through this, it'll work itself out. So what I'm
Yes.
going to do is just do a brief introduction of myself and just give an overview of the enforcement services that the Revenue Authority provides. So again, I am Shanika Schaefer, the Director of Enforcement Services. Before stepping into this role, I spent 10 years as a parking enforcement manager. So I am deeply familiar with a lot of the challenges that residents face with parking regulations in Prince George's County. Our team is dedicated to patrolling all 9 of our councilmanic districts, and we also cover commercial zones in high traffic areas such as the National Harbor. We have Upper Marlboro Courthouse and the Hyattsville Justice Center. We also handle a few specialized units that I'm going to get into as far as the services that we offer. So the first one is our abandoned vehicle unit. This unit consists of administrative staff and trained officers that identify and remove abandoned vehicles that may obstruct traffic flow or diminish your neighborhood appearance. So what is an abandoned vehicle? An abandoned vehicle is any vehicle that's on the county roadway with expired or no visible plates. It's in wrecked or dismantled condition, or it's in an inoperable condition, which means that it has major missing components such as an engine, the transmission might be on the lawn, or if it has 2 or more flat tires. These vehicles are tagged for immediate removal after the registered owner has been significantly notified. And from my understanding, I believe that can be anywhere from 48 to 72 hours before that vehicle is towed off the roadway if it is not in compliance. Our next unit that we have is our booting team. This is a unit that goes out and immobilizes vehicles that have 2 or more unpaid citations, any debt to the Revenue Authority that can also include red light or speed cameras, that they are continuing to violate and they're not taking care of their debt or coming into compliance. These vehicles are immobilized, which means that the owner either has to satisfy their debt or again, bring their vehicle into compliance, and that vehicle is also towed. Before they can get the vehicle back, they have to make sure that everything is, they can't just go get it and just put it back on the street the way it was, because we're gonna double check behind it. The next program that we have is our residential parking permit program. And this is actually one of our gems because it's a citizen-driven initiative that helps you preserve neighborhood parking spaces for residents, which means that other people cannot monopolize your street. The residential parking permit typically looks like a zone is set up after approval of interested residents submit a petition. You have to have 51% approval to be able to submit a petition. Once that's done, a public hearing is held so that everybody that is involved in the block or the entire neighborhood is able to voice their concerns either why they are for the program or against the program. If it's actually approved by our board, the zone is blocked off for non-residents by posted signage and dedicated enforcement. And what that means is that if you choose to have your street clear of any outsiders between the hours of 6 p.m. and 7 a.m., meaning that when you come home from work, you want to be able to park in front of your home, that's what that signage will say. And our trucks will be out at 6 p.m. patrolling to make sure that there are no non-residents in your community. And if they do, they have license plate readers that are able to digitally notify them, but these vehicles are not to be in the zone. That person will receive a $100 fine. No one wants a ticket being somewhere they're not supposed to be. So the program is really to deter people from, just like I said, monopolizing your street. So those are just a few of the services that we offer. Right now, the Revenue Authority launched a new citation software. It's going to make our work more efficient. This system helps us track repeat offenders, like I mentioned before, and streamlines that information to our booting processing team. We are also currently working on revising outdated parking codes and increasing fines to discourage violations. All of this with the goal of improving life for everyone in Prince George's County. Everyone's going to speak about it, and I'm going to tell you, we greatly value the support from 311. I love 311, our community members, and we appreciate you guys for reporting violations because sometimes we may miss them, and that's okay. Once you put a complaint in through 311, we start our targeted enforcement, which means that we follow this complaint all the way through, even if we have to rely on our sister agencies such as DPI or DPNWT to get this situation resolved. In 2024, Our enforcement efforts in your community led to the issuance of over 1,200 citations. The top violations include vehicles with expired registrations, commercial vehicles parked improperly, and vehicles violating signage or traffic control devices. This is only a snapshot of what we are doing and how we're committed to making sure that your community is safe and in order. Before I conclude this, I just want to give a special thanks to Ms. Taylor for inviting the Revenue Authority to this meeting. We appreciate the opportunity to engage with community leaders, and we definitely look forward to being a part of future association meetings. Our goal at the Revenue Authority is to collaborate effectively and ensure your neighborhoods are well maintained. We are here to assist, whether it's addressing commercial vehicle issues or handling abandoned vehicles. I look forward to strengthening our partnership with you and continuing to support the community. So at this time, if there's any questions for me, I am here to answer them.
Thank you for that presentation. Can I ask you a quick question to make sure I understand about
Yes,
the
ma'am.
abandoned? Okay, what happens when, like, people come up, like we don't know if they have tags on their car or not, but I know of an area in this Camp Springs where they're covering up their cars. We don't believe they have tags on them. So how is that handled?
If you share that information with us, we can remove a car cover, but what we will not do, Ms. Taylor, if it's bound really tightly and there's bungee cords and a lot of rope of it, we won't destroy anyone's property. But if it's something that we can lift up and investigate, we will definitely take action on that.
Okay. And then I know people have questions, but so who does the ones that the cars on the lawn?
Okay, so
Is
that would
DPI?
be, it's a conjunction of both, but I will say
Okay.
that the Revenue Authority will start the investigation on that. And if it's something egregious to where it's in the backyard or somewhere we can't see from the roadway, we will reach out to DPI to help us work with that.
Okay. Okay. Miss Angel has her hand raised. Unmute Miss Angel.
Thank you, Miss Monique Taylor.
You're welcome.
Ms. Schaefer, I just have a question. So there are vehicles and like Ms. Taylor said, in the area that are parking on the lawn, as well as after hours, let's say starting around 5 o'clock in the evening, cars are parking up and down the street that does not have room for parking. And they're out there all night until like 6, 7 o'clock in the morning, 8 o'clock in the morning. Can those cars be held accountable, or can they be fined for parking just anywhere on the side of the street blocking the roadway?
Yes, if you share the information with me, and I'll make sure that my direct contact information is in the chat. If you share that information with me, I can have someone come out and conduct a patrol just to see if there's any action that we can take. The best thing you can do, even when entering complaints through 311, please, 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 I have to stress this, let us know the time of the offense. If it's during the day, let us know so that we can have someone during the day. I don't want to send a day shift officer out to address something that typically happens after 7 o'clock in the afternoon. So any detailed information that you have that we need to come out there and take a look at to make sure, again, like we're targeting this enforcement would be really, really helpful. So once I put my information in the chat, please jot it down and email me directly. I will reply right back to you, and I'll update you with any resolution that we have actually done or whatever it is that we can do that's within our scope of enforcement.
Yeah, because I know it's gotten worse in our neighborhood since people are moving in and we're having more people moving into homes. It's like you up and down just one area, for instance, like Middleton, it's like cars parked up and down the street, you can't get by. So it's just like putting 311 tickets. It seems like this goes on for months, and these cars are still parked there, or these abandoned cars are still left there. Cars are wrecked in people's driveways. And it just brings down the property value. So it's just trying to figure out ways that we can try to beautify our neighborhood and get it back to where it used to be. But thank you for that.
You're very welcome. And we are definitely here to help with that. Like I said, don't hesitate to let me know, share that information with me.
Thank you. I don't know. The question is, WSSC construction workers consistently park directly by the street's stop sign, preventing local residents to safely exit and enter Allentown and Napoli Road. What can you do to prevent this violation? Thank you. Is that a Director Schaefer question?
I can answer that. So I just
Okay.
heard the street name. I'll make sure to try to grab it out of the chat. I can
Okay.
reach out to WSSC and just give them a heads up, like, hey, your workers are out there. We're going to respect the work that they're doing. We're going to make sure we do that. We're just going to ask them if they can abide by our parking regulations. They may not be aware of it. So we're just going to do a little bit of education first. So we'll start there. If the conditions continue, then maybe I'll have to come out there, or one of the other managers will have to come out there and just have an in-person conversation. But we want to make sure that they're able to do the work that they need to do, but we also want to make sure that, again, they're not overtaking your roadway or making anything unsafe, any unsafe conditions.
Hi, I submitted that question just very quickly. I just wanted to add that I've actually asked them, and I've actually called the non-police. They still do it. So it's consistent, and I finally just took a picture of the car. So it's consistent. It's like purposely. So I just wanted you to know that.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Again, no problem. Just please make sure when I put my information in the chat that you just follow up with me with an email and even a picture that you have of the violation, so that I can make sure that I share that with the enforcement team. So again, they know what they're out there looking for.
Will do. Thank you.
You're very welcome.
Thank you, Director Schaefer. Does anyone have any any additional question? Because Ms. Butler, we're gonna go back to we want to introduce our newly elected Board of Education representative for District 8, and then after she introduce herself, and then we'll come back to you. Okay. Thank you, Miss Katie. Well, further ado, first we want to congratulate our Miss Zakia Goings McCann for her newly elected position as our school board representative. And she lives in the community. Give her a round of applause, y'all. We're so happy for her. Congratulations. The floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Ms. Monique, and everyone else in the Civic Association for allowing me to speak not only today, but also during my campaign. As Ms. Monique said, I am a part of the community in the Civic Association, so I'm always happy to address my neighbors and to be home. I had a list of things that I wanted to share with you all today, and unfortunately, like so much, the snow days have kind of impacted the definiteness of some of those dates. However, for those of us who are concerned about snow days, if you have not seen the announcement, tomorrow is a 2-hour delay. So you all can rest assured that our students will be getting back to school after this almost 3-week break. The first big thing that I wanted to talk about was our budget season engagement. As I'm pretty sure most of you all have heard, we are facing a pretty severe deficit, not just for PGCPS, but also the county and the state as a whole. But specifically in PGCPS, we're looking at almost a $42 million budget. And so one of the dates I was hoping to be able to share with you all today was our community engagement, specifically for District 8, to find out what it is that we want in terms of what our priorities are for the budget. Because of the snow days and all of our buildings moving, I do not have a definite date for that, but I will share it as soon as I have it. However, our budget hearings for the board as a whole are still on January 23rd, February 6th, and February 13th. And you all are, of course, able to make public comment because that's what the hearings are for, as well as our next board meeting on January 16th, which is next Thursday. And public comment for that actually opens tomorrow. And I'll drop this information in the chat so you all don't have to remember any of the dates that I'm throwing at you. The other huge thing that I've been hearing concerns about is this upcoming inauguration on the 20th and what that might mean, those plans might mean for our school district. As of right now, we are not We are not expecting any impact for our funding or operations from that, especially I've heard concerns about SPED. SPED funding and SPED rules they come from laws that are pushed by Congress. And at this point in time, we have not heard anything on the federal level about them wanting to roll back any of those specific laws or that funding. And even if, the organization, even if the cabinet position in office that currently houses those, something happens to it, those things will still have to be picked up by some other government agency. So right now, we're not expecting anything negatively to impact that group of students. However, for our students who are either recent immigrants, children of immigrants, that entire population of students, we are currently working on something at the board level to make sure that our students understand that we are in support of them, and we are going to do everything we can to make sure that they get an excellent education, regardless of what the immigration policies are at the federal level, as much as we are legally able to do so. And that should be coming very soon. And we are working with some of our advocacy organizations in the community, such as CASA. So please know that is being worked on. And I know we have a lot of our students here, even at Thurgood and Crossland, who would be affected by some of those laws. So I will not talk your ear off. I'm going to drop these dates and my board contact information in the chat, and I'm here to answer any questions.
Does anyone have any questions for Ms. Zakia? Well, I'm just so happy for you, and we know that she's going to do a fantastic job. And like she said, if we want things done, we have to participate. We have to go to these hearings, make our voice heard, so that we can get Prince George's County Public School at a higher level of because are we still, Miss Zakia, are we still number 25 as far as like when they take these tests? Are we still down there as far as with the students and their?
Yes, in both math
Okay,
and LA, we
we
are
are,
pretty close to the bottom. Yes, ma'am.
okay. So we have to make our voices heard. We have to do our part and help with our students. But we do have a question for Miss Sawyer. Miss Sawyer, you have the floor.
Thank you. Miss McCants, I have a question about SPED. Do you guys plan on creating any additional programs for the SPED community post-graduation? I know right now they have Doors and it's another one, Melwood. Those two programs seem to fill up very quickly, and there's a waiting list. And so what I noticed is there's an increase of creating programs for rehabilitation of substance abuse, but not enough programs for the special education or the disabled community once they get out of high school.
Thank you so much for the question, especially your concern about our students once they graduate from us. Unfortunately, from what I have seen in the budget so far, we don't have any explicit plans for post-graduation for SPED population. As far as our disability or our people who are disabled, trying to use person first language here. I think that might be more of a county council question as to what we're doing as a county. I can find out and get back to you.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time. And I know you're going to have a very busy season. But I expect only great things from you. Thank you so much for coming out. And if you can, on occasion, come and give us some reports.
Oh, absolutely. Always happy to be here. And I'm here as much as I possibly can. As I said, this is my home neighborhood. So I am also a member. And again, apologize for earlier today. We had an emergency board meeting that was called right before this meeting started. But I will absolutely happy to give updates.
But you do have a couple of questions. Yes, the kids needs to get back to school. However, how are the kids going to walk to school when the streets and sidewalks in the residential area, Camp Springs, are still treacherous?
Yes, that has been a major concern that has come up throughout the week, and one of the reasons why our CEO decided to keep schools closed for so long. We are hoping with the 2-hour delay and the coordination with the other county agencies that sidewalks will be clear for our students to be able to walk to schools. If there is an area around you that is not, and I will find out exactly who that is, we have to report that to. Please let us know. You can email me directly and I can make sure it gets to the right place. But we have been assured by the county that our students will be able to walk safely. And so we don't have eyes everywhere. We have to all be the eyes. So please, please let me know if there's a space.
Could you share about pre-K expansion into this area?
Miss King, could you explain more what you mean by expansion? Is it like in terms of what's the school district currently doing to entice more people to open up daycare centers, or what is?
I'm actually talking about universal pre-K in the school system. I know in the northern part of the county, they have started to expand universal pre-K for children across all the schools in that part of the county. So I'm wondering about our part of the county and what that looks like in the public school system to increase the number of slots in schools.
Absolutely. So a huge part of our slots in the schools comes from our blueprint mandate. And as you all have heard, we have gotten some pauses on some of the things happening with the blueprint mandate, which is why it's so important for us to engage in this budgetary process. If you could send me an email just so that I have exactly who it's coming from and what our ask is, and I will find out exactly how many of our schools currently, I think I have been told that only one of our high schools in District 8 currently has, not high schools, one of our high schools has a program to help with increasing our teachers, but not very many of our elementary schools actually have pre-K. And so I have to get an exact number and I'll be hearing from the people over that. I believe that will be on Monday, but please send me an email so that I can make sure I'm getting you that information directly. And then obviously I'll follow up with leadership to make sure everybody gets that access to that information as well.
Miss Sadie says, how important is parental involvement related to test scores?
So as I said before, I am an educator, and this is literally accountability is what I do for my day job as well. So extremely important. I think the simplest way that we can right now work on that is just making sure that our students are engaging. So whether they are in elementary school, they are in high school, are we as family members, you all as parents, are we staying on top of what our children are learning, and if they are actually, even as simple as, are they doing their homework? Things like that are the easiest way that we can be involved in relationship to test scores. On the other end, there are a lot of different programs and things that we have throughout the county, a lot of things that our students have access to, that one is information. Do our families, especially here in South County, know that they exist? And then number two, a huge part of it is also funding to make sure we are increasing those programs. One of the amendments, and I'll try to keep it brief, one of the amendments that I'm trying to bring forward is to make sure that we can fund some of those as a school district. But overall, are we as parents and family members keeping up with what our students are learning, and are they accessing information? And then number two, are we training parents to know how to access this information and help their children with it? Because I don't know about you all, but I've seen some of that new math, and I needed some help before I could help somebody else.
Well, thank you. Appreciate you coming out tonight. Okay, with that being said, we're gonna transition over to Miss Katie Butler Tripathi.
That is
From-
correct. You got
Yes,
it.
we wanted this summer, and I think we know all that the Red Cross offers and help communities with. And so with that, we wanted to have her out to provide us with some of the information. So with that being said, Miss Katie, you have the floor.
Thank you so much. I am trying to share, but it looks like I might not have the access.
You want to share?
Yes,
But
ma'am.
Mr. Bailey will allow you to share.
Thank you so much.
You'll be good now.
Thank you so much. Alrighty, so I'm gonna go ahead and open this up here for everyone. Let's see. Can everybody see the full screen presentation?
Yes.
Beautiful. So community partners are essential part of what the Red Cross mission is. So we cannot build a more resilient community without doing it with our partners and the community themselves. So thank you so much for having us out here. Again, my name is Katie Butler Tripathi. I am a disaster program manager for the Prince George's County, as well as Anne Arundel, Calvert, St. Mary's, and Charles. I know that's a mouthful, but I cover a lot of area. I am a really, Prince George's County means a lot to me. So it's kind of like feels like a second home for me. So I really love to dive in and make sure that we're supporting the community the way that you guys need. So I'm just gonna provide a brief overview of what Red Cross does. I am from the disaster cycle services side of the American Red Cross, and I'll explain what that means in just a second, because I know it's kind of confusing. And I'm also going to provide some preparedness information about the winter weather, especially since we just had a storm. Potential one is coming this weekend. Before I start, I did put a form in the chat. If anybody on the call wouldn't mind filling out the form, it's just an address and your how many people live in your home. It's just to let my leadership know how many people I educated tonight on winter safety. We also install smoke alarms, and we will come out and do a fire safety education presentation with the family, do the emergency escape plans, and check your home for any hazards, as well as install a free smoke alarm in your home. We'll actually do the installation, so you don't have to get on the ladder and things like that. And we do that in conjunction with the Prince George's Fire Department, Miss Renee, who spoke earlier. And additionally, if you would like that service, we would just need a little bit more information, like your name and phone number, to contact you at a later date to schedule that, but that's up to your discretion on what you're willing to provide. So go ahead and get started. Oh, there we go. So who is the American Red Cross? What does the American Red Cross do, and how to request the help of American Red Cross? That's what we're going to talk about today a little bit. Oh, looks like we got a little bit of a delay. Let's try that again. There we go. So our mission obviously is to prevent and alleviate human suffering in the face of emergencies by mobilizing the power of the volunteer workforce and the generosity of donors. Again, the American Red Cross is multifaceted. We have lots of lines of service. So for example, we have biomedical services, we have disaster cycle services, international services, service of the armed forces, and training services. Biomed obviously are those people that you see that's out there in the community getting blood donations and working with the community to better support our hospitals and our healthcare facilities. Disaster Cycle Services is my team. We will respond to any disasters in the area, locally and nationally. International Services does disaster and humanitarian services internationally. And Service of the Armed Forces works with our veterans and current active duty forces. That includes people at Joint Base Andrews. Training services are those team members that you see out there in the community doing not handling CPR, I do that, but the CPR intensive training for our medical providers, additional basic first aid and babysitting, lifeguard training, all of that is through our service training services department. All right. So my team, Disaster Cycle Services, what do we do? That kind of doesn't mean a lot to a lot of people, right? So disasters are different for everyone, and we'll talk about what classifies as a disaster versus an emergency in just a minute. But just as a general overview of what my team supports, and we have a couple of my team members here on the call, I just want to give a shout out to Ms. Paula Hughes, who's also very local to your community, and Seema Wadekar. Both of them are advocates. One is a DAT responder, and one is our mass care lead for the region, for the chapter of Southern Maryland. So both of them are amazing people within your community that have stepped up to serve as volunteer leaders for the American Red Cross. So shout out to them. So for community engagement preparedness, we work with the Prince George's Fire Department to do our national sound the alarm campaigns. Our biggest one yet is going to be coming up in May. On May 3rd, we'll have the national sound the alarm for Prince George's County, where we'll go out into the community just like we do every month and install free smoke alarms for different families. And we'll walk the streets. We'll work with Maryland Park Police. We'll work with the local police in different incorporated areas, and we will canvass the roads. The police will canvass the roads for us to make sure we're safe, and we will be supporting the community. We'll install the free smoke alarms and do fire safety education. It's a really great program, and I'm very excited to be part of it. We have since been recognized nationally as 2 lives saved due to the program that we have here in Prince George's County. So that is amazing, like, metric. There are plenty of places, like I'm talking Orlando hasn't even been noticed. Miami hasn't been noticed for their program. Here in Prince George's County, it's really important to us, and we have had 2 lives saved because of that program. So it's nice to see.
Miss Katie, can you click slideshow so it can be larger?
Oh, yes, I do apologize. How's that?
No.
No?
Okay, there it is. Thank you.
Okay, sorry about that. Thank you. We do our Prepare with Pedro, which is our youth program. So that's where we come out to the schools and we talk with the children about Prepare with Pedro. Pedro is our penguin. He's really fun. The kids love him. Our volunteers will present that program. Be Red Cross Ready. I'm going to give you guys all a little taste of that today in hopes that you would like to have me back for a larger presentation, but I'll give you a little brief one today. We do the hands-on CPR training for the community. We do shelter surveys with the Office of Emergency Management. We do supportive communities with the community, with the county exec's office and additional offices throughout the county. And then we have teams that we train. So these are volunteers who have, committed to supporting their community. We train them in how to respond to families in need. And it doesn't have to be a financial need. It could just be an emotional need at that point. Their house is burned down. Maybe they have homeowners insurance. Maybe they're okay. They've got a contingency plan. They're all right. But like emotionally, they're traumatized. They've lost things, and they need some support. So our team is trained. That's our disaster action team members. They go out, they support those community members. Right now, since we've been on this call, I've had 2 calls for this evening in Prince George's County. So my team is out there currently. The immediate assistance that we provide to these families is based off of the damage assessment, FEMA's damage assessment standards, and that is what we use to provide immediate financial assistance, but we can provide anybody who has incurred a fire, emotional support, mental health services, disability integration services. We talk a lot about that. When things go really bad, right? We have mass care needs in the county. That means that maybe an apartment building has gone down or something to that effect. We step in to provide sheltering, feeding, reunification, and emergency supplies. Thankfully, we haven't had to do this, knock on all kinds of wood, in the last couple years, but we've had earthquakes, we've had tornadoes, we've had hurricanes, we've had things come up and kind of cause chaos for us. That is where the Red Cross really steps up and says, all right, we have these many people that we've trained that know what they're going to do, and we're going to support this community until we can get back to a regular status. We also support recovery planning. So that includes working with different partners, Department of Social Services, Department of Aging and Disability, again, the county exec's office, fire department, all of those agencies we work in conjunction with. So how does the American Red Cross mobilize? So we are requested by an official from the emergency management, from an emergency management agency, oftentimes the Office of Emergency Management, from the fire department, that's either the Office of the Fire Chief or battalion chiefs that are on scene that shift, community partners like yourselves, and then the public. Anybody can call into Red Cross and request assistance, and then our dispatch will route it to the right appropriate team. That number is a public line. It is 1-800 Red Cross, and anybody is able to access that. So emergency responses happen every 8 minutes in the US. So that could be anything from a small house fire, like the 2 that we've had while we've been on this call, or the response going on currently out in LA. We have members that we send from our community to California. Right now, we've just sent 2 from our team today. They are leaving, and they are going out there to support those families that have lost homes. So on average, we respond to about 65,000 disasters every year. And our work is completed by 95% of volunteers. That is how we try to expand the donations that we are given by the public, is by reducing some of our footprint of having staff. That's why I am the paid staff person for Prince George's County, but I also cover 5 counties. And that's how we maximize the money that is donated for the Red Cross for the actual residents that truly need it. Is we do kind of support that with the volunteers who step up to support some of the work. And that is why we are so thankful to the volunteer workforce that we have. A lot of the responses that we do here are home fires. So I wanted to talk a little bit about home fires, but also a little bit about winter preparedness as well. So again, what is an emergency? An emergency is any situation that poses an immediate threat to health, life, property, or the environment. And a disaster is if it's overwhelming the response systems that are currently in place, that are people who are hurt, or property has been damaged or destroyed. And when we say damaged, we don't mean the oven stopped working. We mean like the fire was, there was a fire and the oven's gone kind of situation, not that it stopped working. So damage is a relative word. So just think about that a little bit. There are lots of disasters. Obviously, again, as I mentioned, home fires are the most prevalent in this area. We have had an earthquake. Hurricane is not unheard of. North Carolina wasn't prepared for one, and it came up, and they were not thinking it would hit them. And it's the same thing. That's something we need to be mindful of in our community in Prince George's. The thunderstorms and winter storms are also something that we do suffer from, as well as a little bit of flooding in certain areas of Prince George's County. So how do we get ready, right? We enhance our emergency preparedness kits. And that includes having like a go bag or a car kit. And a go bag might be something that gives you something to go through the first 24 to 72 hours. So maybe you need to leave the home, a change of clothes, medications, important documents, things like that. Something that you can grab and get out of that house safely, because when there is a home fire, you only have 2 minutes to get out of a home, under 2 minutes. It is incredibly important to have your stuff prepared, copies, and a disk drive with all of your copies of maybe your birth certificate, things like that, that's already in a bag that you just grab on your way out, instead of searching through your lock boxes and things like that to get your documents. Having a car kit is really important, especially with winter weather. So making sure that you look at the season, you look at your emergency kit, and you kind of change things out every season. Maybe in the summer, you're going to want more water, or you always want water, sorry. You want more cooler clothes. And in the winter, you want warmer clothes. You want a show snovel in the winter versus something else in the summer. So taking that into consideration when you're building your emergency kits are really important. Planning is important. Again, where are you going to go? If you have to leave your home, where are you going to be? What is the plan? If it's winter, do you need a warming center? Does your family know which one you're going to? Because we also help families find each other at the Red Cross. So for example, right now we are prepping for the inauguration. The whole region is, right? Like the whole NCGCR region is preparing for this. If you are on the lawn and you are separated from your loved one, maybe you take the metro and you get off at another stop and your family has to go over to Virginia, and you're trying to connect each other. The Red Cross works with our emergency management offices to make that happen. But if you have a plan in place and you're saying, hey, whenever we're in a situation where there's a lot of people, or there's an emergency that might go down, or we can see that the winter weather is not great, let's talk about where our family wants to find each other. Let's talk about if we're going to go to a warming center. Let's talk about if we're going to go to Aunt Crystal's house. Like, I don't know, like just think it through and kind of talk that out with your family, because thinking about it is great. You also have to communicate it to every member of your family. That's important too. Transportation and power outages. Those do cause a lot of difficulties for a lot of people with, batteries. We work off of, a lot of our electronics obviously need power to survive, and, mapping and things like that. So make sure you always have an extra set of a battery charger, battery replacements. You know how the transportation works in our county, what services to look at for outages or cancellations for different lines of service. Again, that brings us to staying informed, right? So you got to listen for updates and special instructions, understand warnings and what those mean. And you could do that by downloading the Red Cross Emergency app. And what is nice, Prince George's County obviously also has their own alert system, right? You have Prince George's Alert, which is great. And it will tell you about anything going on in the county, in Prince George's County, and it'll actually give you extremely detailed information. And I would highly recommend downloading that. That's my plug for Office of Emergency Management right there. But the American Red Cross also has an emergency app that will also update to wherever you are. So if you are traveling and you're not in your home area and you need to know what emergencies are happening or how to prepare for them, the emergency app is great. It's down, you can download it, you can adjust where you want to have notifications for. It is good. I'm originally from Florida, but I have been around here for a little bit now. And one of the things that I was wholly unprepared for were tornadoes. I had never seen or heard or been involved in that kind of situation in my life. Even in this job, I'm used to hurricanes, wasn't used to tornadoes. This app popped up when we had an emergency tornado warning in our area, and it told me exactly what I needed to do. It told me, find a room with no windows, do this, do this, do this, do this. And that is crucial in the moment. So it tells you, it sends off the alert, and it'll tell you what to do. So it's really great. It's a great system to have. And then this is just a little bit of, I know that there's been a lot of postings out for the winter storm alerts, so you probably have seen these, but I just wanted to put it up here again with the potential for one this weekend. What's the difference between an advisory, a watch, or a warning? There are several different meanings to that, and knowing what that is and being educated on what that means will help you prepare for what you need to do and keep you and your family protected. And thank you. I don't want to take up too much of your time. I hope that you guys invite me back. I'd love to do a longer presentation. Again, my name is Katie Butler-Chaparthy, Community Disaster Program Manager. My email address is here, and we are happy to support you guys in any way possible. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Katie. Very informative presentation. We have Ms. Brenna. She want to know, is there a link to download your slides?
I can put my slides in the chat. I'd be happy to do that.
Yeah, they thought it was very informative.
Great, thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions? Well, thank you for your thorough presentation on all the things that the Red Cross, and I guess I have to say American Red Cross does. Because I know it's an international.
There's quite a few of us. We have International Red Cross and International and Red Crescent in our other areas in different, it's a cultural thing that we've changed the Red Cross to be Red Crescent as well, so that we're being inclusive. It's wonderful.
Okay. Well, I want everyone to some of the theme tonight was, as Miss Katie and we had our Miss Wasco, it's being prepared and making a plan. So I think for 2025, if we have not done that, I think this is the time to be prepared and make a plan for 2025. That's what we're gonna say. Be prepared and make a plan, 2025. And she asked that you, in the chat, you would see the form that she asked for us to fill out. It takes actually probably 5 seconds. They ask you your name, where you live, and how many people in your house. Okay.
We try to make it easy.
Yes. Now, I'm going to go back through a couple questions, and then we'll have Miss Beverly Taylor come aboard. Ms. Zakir, are you still on? Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Miss Shantae said, are they leaving it up to the discretion of bus drivers to avoid unsafe roads? She had Center, Lorraine, Joy drives are horrible, and the bus comes directly to the door for pickup, but I think they will have issues getting through the neighborhood. Please advise.
Yes, I sent her a message
Oh,
direct
you already, oh, okay.
for
Okay.
everyone else. I think our DPIE representatives put numbers in the chat and also
Oh, okay. Oh, okay. 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 I would just want to make sure I get, make sure people questions are answered. Okay. Okay, we know about the, yes, about the roads so supposed to, yeah, it is taking quite some time, but I will reach out again to WSSC, and even though I know this week has thrown everything off, but just to get some clarification for that. Harris said, it sounds like Prince George's County is understaffed and that many issues are going unresolved. This is poor reflection on the county. Our tax dollars are being collected without any issues. However, we can't see our tax dollars being put to use in our community. Who do we contact other than 311 that has authority to answer question, hire the necessary staff, and make changes in our county and communities? Does anyone want to take a?
Ms. Taylor, I would suggest that they call their council member's office.
Okay. Council member's office. And that's Council Member Ed Burrows. And we have an at large Calvin Hawkins. And this is probably a real good time to do that because some of these people are running for the county executive position.
Hey there, Miss Taylor. This is Courtney Mariette on behalf of the Office of Community Relations. I actually have the director, and she'd like to weigh in on a couple of things. Is that okay?
Sure.
No problem. Please stand by.
Okay.
Hello, hi, how's everyone?
Great, how are you?
I'm good. This is Unisha Davis. I'm the director for the Office of Community Relations, and I serve at the pleasure of our county executive, Tara Jackson. Of course, formerly Angela Also Brooks, who is now the Senator Also Brooks. I would like to say I've heard the concerns. There have been several meetings tonight about 7 p.m. So I've been
Yes.
on most of them. I have been in the county. I've been in my vehicle or I've been driven, so to speak, because even though I'm from PA, I still don't like the snow. And I've been in the communities. I've seen those that have been plowed, those that have not. I understand the concerns. I do ask that you put them through 311, but I just want to be very clear about what 311, what I operate and what my service provides. So that's data in, and for us is data out. And so my 311, my call operators that I oversee, the call center, and I don't know how many of you understand that it's an award-winning, it's duplicated throughout the nation, just our model. That wasn't done in Prince George's County 6 years ago. But what we oversee is data in, data out. And so while there is a 48-hour rule once the snow stops until your service request comes in, I did override that. And I start allowing my call operators to take your service requests in because I understood that there may be a disconnect between what you're seeing and what is also being reported. And so with that, we have taken in quite a number of service requests to say my street isn't plowed properly. However, I do want you to understand what that definition is. And so plow doesn't mean that you're just going to see bare pavement. You're going to see it's passable roads. I do understand that some roads are still not passable. And so the pictures that I've been able to send, that's why we've asked you over the last 2 years to
get an account, whether through iPhone or Android, 311, so that way you're able to upload your pictures. That's 1,000 words to me. And so I'm able to see what you see, because there's never a time that I'm going to get through all of the roads in Prince George's County. And so I'm able to tell the leadership that's above me what I'm seeing, what's being reported. It may not be necessarily what you're really seeing. And I think if many people who know who I am, I'm going to get the reality of the situation, not just what leadership wants to hear. And so we're doing our best to get to your roads if they have not been plowed like they were supposed to be, right? Barring an HOA, if they weren't supposed to be, we're doing our best to get out there, especially with snow maybe coming this weekend. And so what I'm asking you to do is report that to 311. And if you don't have the application, I'm asking you to download it. It takes 30 seconds. You on TikTok, you on Facebook, you on other things, download 311, PGC 311, and you can do that simply within 30 seconds, right? Through your settings, through your application, Android or iPhone. That way you're able to register properly. Any 311 request that you put in, you will see for the lifetime of your sponsorship. I call it a sponsorship, basically. And with that, you are able to download pictures of what you see. So that way, when the service provider before they get there, they understand what they're coming to. And so I'm asking you to do that. I've been asking you for that kind of like 2 years, like download this, because when it becomes time for you to use it, you're able to, and not just able to submit complaints. I don't like to call it complaints. I call it concerns, because we're concerned about the county. So you're not just able to submit complaints to say, I'm complaining about this. We want to truly bring resolution to it. So again, thank you so much, Miss Monique, for your time, for you allowing me to have this space to be very clear in the expectation. And if anyone needs to call me, call my office. If you need to come meet me in person, if I need to come to you, I will. I've never shied away from that, because we are all here to improve the quality of service in the county. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So we are going to follow up with DPI. We're going to take you up on like some of the concerns we have.
Don't follow up with DPI, Miss Monique, and put it into 311. That's the data. That's how we understand what we need to deploy. That's how we understand what our resources are. Because when you follow up with DPI, and I totally adore and love working with the director of DPI, Mr. Dawood. But when you follow with Mr. Dawood or any of his agencies, when Mary decides to take vacation or retire, and Mary doesn't tell you, you're going to blame 311. So my ask is put it into 311.
No, they're
and then we will handle from there.
They're already in 311. It's something that when we in the discussion we have.
Well, you follow up with 311 on the go, because again, when someone decides to take vacation, or they may be overwhelmed with others, because you have to understand that 311 is a system for the entire county. It just doesn't service your specific area. And so when someone decides to do that, and that,
we have
what's your
things that
concern?
have been that we have some concerns. People like they might have put. I mean, we understand some things take.
But what year did you put them in, Miss Monique? What year?
Well, I know I put
I'm gonna give you
some
that.
in. We have some people that's on here said 9 to 12 months. I know I put something in probably a couple of years ago.
And if it's years ago, my new 311 system, because understand that was my job to improve the system. And so my system, if it was it was bad data and it was never going to get corrected. It was never going to be resolved. And I think that's the reality we have to come from. And so if it was beyond 2022, that, I mean, you have an agency that can still look at the data, but maybe you have to submit a new service request. But if the SLA, the service level agreement, is giving you 24 months or 2 years, I understand that's not something that you want to see. Understand that the agency is giving us that service level agreement. That's not something that I came up with or my operators. And so as much as we try to circumvent the system, it doesn't work for everyone. Because as you trying to say, well, I don't agree with it being a 2-year response. So neither does someone District 9, neither does someone in District 7, neither does someone in District 1. And so what I'm asking is put it in the system, allow for 311 on the go also to work the system and not just rely on those from DPI or DWT, because they will never get to all of the service requests that are in the system because everyone's trying to buck the system. That's all I'm asking for.
No, we get that. We understand. That's why we put it in there. But then people like, I'm getting texts and things like, oh, well, I put something in 24 months ago. I know, like we've put in on Allentown Road, in front of one of the gas stations. We've put a request in, I know it's been at least a year, just to have a trash can put there. And we can't get a trash can. And so it's trash thrown all over that lawn over there. We put bags up there. Sometimes people put stuff in the bag and sometimes they don't.
It's
So
called
I
a
mean, like a
mindset. That's a
trash
mindset
can.
change, Miss Monique. And the fear, are you getting all of these responses? Because that's a 311 on the go response. And so that's your district liaison. So I see a fear on the line from OCR. We'll come out to assess the situation. And so I do understand you put that, but that's a mindset change. Sometimes some people gonna put something in the trash and sometimes they won't. And so that's a whole mindset. That's a whole culture change with people. But if you make sure that you're collecting this data, and I will assure you, Miss Monique, that today is third. Okay, and I believe that the deputy may have asked for that too. Today's Thursday. My team and myself, because I don't shirk responsibility. I'm out there. I can't do my job behind my desk. I am out there in the community. I hear your concerns. I will be out to the areas that you say that are of concern to you. I will be there. And I will guarantee you this. When I get there, change will happen. Resolution will happen, whether you want it, whether you like some of the responses or not. And this is for the entire community, not just for you. Change will happen once I understand what needs to be changed. So Afia, make sure that you're taking in the requests and concerns, so that way my job next week is to put on my calendar to be out in this community so I can understand what's needed and I can understand what needs to be responded to. Because I don't meet this for the sake of meeting. I'm gonna bring the people out there that's gonna resolve your issues. And that's just where I come from on a daily. And I may not be at all meetings all of the time, but my liaisons are representative OCR and me. And what that means is you're going to get resolution. That's it. Right now, we're dealing with a little bit of snow. It's kind of over to me. Now we get back to business and what we're supposed to do. And I think anyone who knows me, I keep my word. I will meet you at your community. If you want to meet me at a certain spot, I will be there. Whether it's 7 a.m., 7:30 in the morning, 8 o'clock at night. I don't shirk that. I don't shy away from that. And so let's go ahead and get some things done. So that way, every time you have your meeting, you're not just talking about the concerns, you're talking about the resolve.
Okay.
So Afia, make sure you get everything that's dictated this evening. Thank you again for your time. I appreciate it.
311
Thank you,
question.
Deputy.
I have a 311 question. Thank you so much.
Good. No,
Um,
you got a 311 question. Hold on. I'm
okay.
sorry. This is because we're in between two meetings. We're in one. Hold
Oh,
on.
okay.
Hold on 1 second. Here we go. Director Davis, they have a 311
I
question.
just we have a
Sure.
three. I know
There
that.
you go.
Okay, like when I was telling you, I know personally I put in some requests and no resolution
Mhm.
at the time, but
Sure.
I noticed in the last, I can't remember, it's the end of the year, like everything
Mhm.
that I put in is disappeared, and I
Okay.
can't
And
even,
what do
and
you
I
mean
can't,
by
and
disappeared? Like, do you
it.
mean that someone said, "Oh, it has been resolved," or it's just gone?
I did receive an email saying, I didn't read them all. But then what I did was I went into, because I do have on the go, I have the app. And I
Awesome.
went into, because you know, like you have my requests. And
Uh-huh.
usually you can go back into my requests and see what your requests were. Mine were gone.
Absolutely. Well, that should not happen, Miss Monique. So what I'm going to do is Carla Ukoma is my 311 guru.
Okay.
And with that, any service request that you have, it
Mhm.
lives for the life of the service and
Okay.
beyond. So you can say, you could be a one time a year person that inputs data into 311 and you come back 2 years from now or a year, it should be there. So I'm kind of having a little confusion about when you say it's gone, it's not there, you don't see it. And there
Yeah,
is a resolve to that. So
yeah,
what
I'm
I would
looking at
like,
my, I'm looking at my
okay,
requests and they're all gone except this one.
except one. And when
Except
did
this
you put,
one.
okay, and so what I would like to do is I'm going to have Afia make sure I have your information. I would like all the service requests, whatever number that you associated with that particular request, it should be in the system. I'm going to get Carla Ukoma on the phone tomorrow with you. Will you tell me the time? And we're going to go through and we're going to find out where these service requests have disappeared, where they're going, because no longer should a service request go into a black hole. That was the issue prior to the new PGC 311 coming online. It went into this hole. We don't know where it went. We don't know who serviced it. There should never be that instance as of 2022. So tomorrow, I would love to get on the phone with you and Carla, and we will be able to track where this issue is. And I think that any system that you build, it is not without fault. I don't want anyone to leave here on the call I'm saying this is 100% perfect. But what I'm asking you is for your cooperation to work with us as we try to perfect the system that is of quality and deserving quality for those in Prince George's County. That's all I'm asking.
No problem.
Give me a
Thank.
fair shake. That's it. So I'll call you tomorrow or whatever you tell Afia what time, I'll be on the line with you tomorrow. And it's Friday too. And if it's after 5, it's after 5. So my job, I don't have a 9 to 5, Miss Monique. So you tell Afia what time we need to be on and we'll be on.
Thank you so much. We appreciate it.
Absolutely. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you, CM. Thank you so much. I'm gonna jump to the next call.
Um,
You got it.
I know Miss Beverly Taylor, did you want to speak on the Camp Springs elections?
Hi.
Hi.
Okay. Um, Good evening, everyone. As she said, my name is Beverly Taylor. I've been appointed along with John Bailey as chairman and co-chairman for the nomination committee this year, 2025. We have to elect new officers or a new president and a new vice president. And if anybody else would like to run for any other executive position, to let me know. But mainly, I'm interested in getting volunteers who are concerned volunteers for their community to run for president or to run for vice president. So please contact me, and I can put my email in chat, and you can send me a nomination, or if you want to run your, oh my goodness, yourself, um, um, you can come on and run. My, can you still hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, okay. Everything disappeared on the screen. But anyway, if you have persons, or you would like to run, or you know of a person that would make a good president or vice president, please send that name to me and I'll put it in the chat of this person. We will have elections, I think in May. Yes. And I need to have these by March, of people who would like to run for office. We've always had fabulous presidents. Monique Taylor has been, what can you say? I mean, what words can you say? And you don't get paid to do this job, but you're dedicated to your community and getting things done for your community. If you would send me an email, if you would like to run, please, I'll put my email address in the chat, and please send me an email. If you know of a person, or if you would like to, and you got to be a member of the association now, okay? Got to be a member of the association in order to run for president or vice president, or any other office, secretary, treasurer, any of those. No, not treasury, but secretary. Send your name in to me. That's about it. I'm really looking for a good person to run this organization. As you can see, we've had a record of outstanding presidents running the Camp Springs Civic Association. So if you're interested in running, please let me know. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Beverly, but don't forget, we're looking for a correspondence secretary. We're looking for recording secretary.
I couldn't remember all the, okay.
Yeah, those are the other two. And we also, those are the, like you said, those are the executive offices. But we
Right.
have a lot of committees that we need some input. We need some help with, because we have a lot of committee that I won't say some have been neglected, but we do what we have to do to try to make things happen for some of them.
Yes.
So please don't hesitate about if you're interested, and you can go on our website. I'm trying to remember, and it lists all of our different committees that we have. And Miss LaShonda. Miss LaShonda, the Veterans Commissioner.
Yes,
How are you?
ma'am. Good evening. How are you?
Fine. Want to give you a shout out before we close out the meeting. Did you want to say anything?
Not at this time, just letting everyone know that if you are a veteran in Prince George's County, the Office of Veteran Affairs is there for you to assist with your needs, questions, and concerns. I live in Camp Springs, and I wanted to make sure that I'm on the call to kind of hear what's going on, and I'll put my information in the chat if anyone would like to connect for resources or to engage around veterans issues.
Thank you. Appreciate you. Does anyone have anything before we close out? Oh, I'm not closing out. We got the VP, Mr. VP, VP.
I know, right?
He's gonna do the closeout, but I do want to say thank you, everyone, for coming out to our first meeting of the year. And we're looking forward to a year of participation. If we all
Yes.
work together, we can get a lot of things done in Camp Springs. But someone asked how to become a member. You can go to www.campspringsca.org. Go to join us. And when you go to join us, we have membership for household, which is $20 a year. And if you have a business, it's $30 a year. Oh, Mr. Bailey put it in the chat.
Great.
Okay. Sorry, Mr. Harrison, but
No
the floor
problem.
is yours.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Good evening, everyone. My name is Alonte Harrison. I'm the Vice President of Camp Springs Civic Association. And Happy New Year to everyone. It was a barn burn at the end. I felt the heat. I felt the passion from my people that in the county. But I just want to say I want to thank our community partners for serving me and the community. This is what makes our communities safer and make us prosper, and it shows our government and the community working together. So I just want to say to everyone who came out today, everyone who's involved with us in volunteering, everyone who just loves Camp Springs and just want to help people. We want to say thank you from Camp Springs. We appreciate you helping us and tending to our community, helping our neighbors, and making our community the best that we have. I just want to say thank you. I know I'm not holding anybody up because I've been here a long time. So I just want to say have a great evening, be safe, and like I tell everybody, let's live it up.
Before we leave, I want
Yes,
to,
ma'am.
next meeting is March 13th. We'll be on Zoom. So
Yes.
put that on your calendar. Save the date, March 13th is our next meeting. And Miss LaShonda, can you please put your information in the chat? Miss Tasha Jones of Mercy House would like to connect with you.
Such a pleasure.
But that concludes the meeting. But Miss LaShonda, are you still there? I'm not holding it, holding you all up. I was just trying to get Miss LaShonda and connected with the Mercy House.
Thank you.
Good night,
Thank you.
everyone. Thank you
Good night,
so
everyone.
much. Appreciate everyone.
Good night. Thank
Good
you.
night.
Good night.
Bye.
Good night.
Good night.
Does anyone know who do you reach out to about county regulation on roofing issues?